right, good day to all. Sam here with you. We're on a Tuesday mid-morning, Tuesday the 13th of February. And as is our habit now, the way we choose the coins, we put it up to a vote amongst the members, and they choose we will typically do the top 3 coins that they are requesting for video analysis. And our first choice here today was a look at Stellar Lumen. I've got it up here. This is the 4-hour on Bittrex. Now, we've done this coin before. Just a quick review here over where I like to at least give you a reference here. This is Stellar here on CoinGecko, 71 on their scale. I particularly like this, 86%. So very active in the development community. 7.7 billion on the market cap. Clearly a major project, but if you wanted to dig in, if you want to do a little bit more research on what they have going on, this is always a good place to start. So if we come back over here and look at it, you can see we're getting some action here today. Now, there have been a couple of different ways to count this, but I'm going with this just because this price action here is certainly not reminiscent of what you would find in a second wave. Much more likely to be a fourth, and even if we did something simple like just look at the Elliott oscillator here, we can see clearly that's the peak, so that would imply the third wave. So if we look at that and say, okay, can I get a handle on this as a fourth? Well, working from my low here from we'd have to go back here. You can see this was the first initial pump, and I'm just working from an absolute low here, and I think we go 1-2 here. So looking now at this, I think you can make a pretty strong case that this is, while a complex correction, it's much more characteristic of a fourth than a second. So working on that premise, we can see that there's lots of 3 waves in here, which again implies one. Well, clearly it's corrective. The question being, is it a 4 or a 2? Certainly, this is much more characteristic of a fourth. So there's a few things that just kind of scream at you. So this ABC in here certainly implies that that's our B wave. This is kind of an ugly A wave, but it plays. We get an A, B, C into that as well. And if I can't recall, but I think this was fairly technical here. So here's the front run on the 618. They don't get their target. Remember, larger trend dominates. So just because they have a target doesn't mean they always get it. So although this is interesting, this technical pivot here, and then if we go down here, assuming that's the A wave, there's a push here. We get to the 786, then we roll over again. But yet again, the market is strong, so they can't get the target here for the short sellers down here at their negative 23.6 on that side. They can't get it. So the dominant trend here, again, I'm working from the 2 to the 3 high. Here's my 50, maybe a front run here with a second test of the 50. Does that play as a, that pattern that we saw so often in 2017 of that truncated C wave? Well, it certainly plays better in a fourth wave. So that would suggest that we'd have something along these lines here. So you can see that's setting up as kind of a nice trend line of support, and then maybe we get something like this. So are we approaching the breakout? Now, as if you follow me or study my material, I'm not a breakout trader. That's not. I'm looking to buy retracements. So as I look at it here, you got to ask yourself: is this a good technical low? Is there anything else there? I don't love the subdivision, but the fact that we get a reaction, then we come back, we test it here. Let's go down to the 1 hour, see if we can add some confidence in that as our low here for the fourth. Here, looking at it now. Again, that's not the prettiest looking impulse. Maybe you could make the case here that you have a bit of a truncated fifth there, and now you've gone into an ABC. But this is where we start to look a little bit better. Now, so the other possibility is that we'd have a triangle. So we'd have an A, B, C, D, E. That you could certainly make that case. So we might look at it like this, coming down here for an A, B, C, D, E. I'll spare us the labeling, but you can kind of get the idea. A, B, C, we come up here for the D, for the E. Now this is where we see a clear 5-wave impulsive structure. So I'll do it. Let's just do it. So I would go over here. Let me grab it. So there it is. Okay, so we might have something like this: A, B, C, D, E. Okay, if that's our case, again, that would certainly, we would not find that in a second. So that adds to the idea that we have a fourth here. So if we look at it now with that in mind, let me take that up a degree just so it makes sense. We'll go There we go. Okay, so then this would suggest a 1-2, right? So that's a really clear, clean, if I zoom in on that, you can see how nicely we get a one wave here. So that would suggest we've got a one wave impulsive structure, three wave correction. We're going up for the 3, 4, 5. That gets us out of this fourth. That adds validity to this low. Right, so it suggests that fourth is complete. Here's our 1-2 coming out of it. Right, so if you didn't trade it here, if you didn't catch that, that looks like it's probably a 786. So no, we got right. So a few wicks through the 618, or pardon me, through the 6.5. So now looking at that, so where could we be going? Well, first thing I would do is given that nice setup for a pitchfork. Well, I've got the modified on there. Let's go to original. So interesting. Okay, so first thing we've done. So here's the classic golden corner pocket. So 1, 2, boom, 80% odds from here of hitting the median line, and we're hitting it as I draw it. Yeah, you know, you got to be fast on these. So if you're not in it there, so where are we likely to go? Well, we know that the negative 100, as I've shown you on many times, is going to be very, very close to the 1618. So that's a good eyeball reference here. So if we're going 1, 2, 3, and we're moving out of this nice impulsive 1, 3 wave into the 2, up we go. Well, even on the hourly here, we don't really have much subdivision yet. So this looks like that's got room to run. Now we might pause here with a little resistance at the median line. But so first thing we got to get to is the 100%. So if I pull here to my low down here, I'm right on it. I'm on it. Looks like it's right there. Okay, so here you can see this is the target I was talking about. So here's the 1618, 175 box, right? So there's the negative 100 right close to it, and the upper parallel. How nice. So here, but if this is going to play as a third, first target we got to get, which is right there with the algo target. First thing we got to get to is the 100%. So if we can get this to confirm as a third here, all we need to do is break this so we know that it's longer than the first wave. Then we've got a nice looking Elliott setup. So that certainly plays as a potential third. Now we don't really, even if I went down to the 15-minute, it doesn't look like we have much. Well, there's a little bit of subdivision there. So I'm going to be shallow too, that's for sure. So here's the chop. Let's get right on that. There we go. So here's their target. So this just looks like it's in just rip mode. So that's hard to call that a 1-2. But then that's pretty shallow there. So just full throttle rip, bumping into the median line as you would expect. So let's go back to the 1 hour and see how we might approach it as a trade. So if you're long, you're looking good. If you're not, you'd be chasing here. So I would not suggest a buy there. What you're waiting for is the fourth. So we need to get a good confirm on the third, and that we confirm it as a third here. So if we can get through this here, and we get up here, this is the more probable target for the third, well then you're going to have to wait for the 4. So just for the hypothetical, if we look at that and say, okay, well here's, come here. If this is my 2 and we're going to go up here, and this, let's again, hypothetically, if we get the 1618 here as our third, well, then we got to think about where that fourth might come into play. So let me take that off so it doesn't clutter up the chart. So here I'd put the 23 on that. So let's get the 23 on there as well. Okay, so strong market. This looks like it might be a very reasonable roadmap for us. Again, assuming we can get legs here and get through this resistance. If we can get up here, get our third, then we'd have this nice setup for a fifth up here for the longer algo target, assuming that is our third, right? So don't tie me to that just yet. I'm hypothesizing on the assumption that we make it to the third. Back to the median line for the fourth would play just beautifully. Here we'd be between the 23 and the 38. Then a rip up for the 5. Then where are we now? Now we pull back out and we go, okay, so where am I in the larger count? Well, you see, now you put it in context. We could just be getting started here, because here's the larger algo target here. Here, this negative 23 is off of this 50. Do you see how they line up over here? So if this is A, B, C, D, E into the triangle for the fourth, this fifth, when we're looking at the hourly, that looks like a huge move. That very well could just be the 1-2. So on the larger degree, this could be setting up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me put that. We can go. Let's go to white, and I'll go up a degree or two. So do you see what we're trying to get there? So that's why don't feel like, oh man, it's already moved and I've missed it. No, it's just confirming. It's doing us a favor, really. You can think of it that way. It's giving us a confirm on this low. Because it was kind of confusing. Was this completed 5, and then we were going to go A, B, C into a 2? Well, then we got a 3 wave, not a 5 wave. So it gives us the clarity that we were trying to find. Because if I recall, I think earlier I had looked at this and considered this was a completed 5 wave, and we were going down into the 2. Because at that point, you can see A, B, C into a 2. Right between the 50 and the 618, it would have appeared at that time that we had a 1, 2, 3 come down for the 4, and we're starting off for that 5th from that as a completed 5 wave. Right? So that could have been completed 1 wave down for the 2. This would have been the 1 wave of the 3rd. Well, given all of this chop and the sideways motion, it's that additional data. That's why Elliott wave is continually dynamic and evolving. As you get more information, you get more clarity on how the market's moving. It's not that the market knew in advance that this was going to happen. It's just us trying to qualify it and quantify it based on that price action. What can we forecast? If that's a 4, then we know we've got a reasonable target up here for this 5th. And nothing says it has to stop there, but that's a reasonable target because that's what the algorithms will be using from the swing low here, right? And I would suggest even checking this as well because this is more of an Elliott low. This is the hard low that they would use. So we're looking back here at an A, B, C truncated C wave. Remember that was the feature. That was the featured trade in 2017. But the algorithm is not going to care about that. They're going to work off of that hard low. So just swing low, dominant pivot to dominant pivot. Here's the 50, which pushes their, it's slight, but that's how I would leave that. So here's the target for that 5th. And yet again, nothing says that must be the top of the 5th, but I can tell you there's likely to be a reaction there as the algos that were buyers down here take profit. Doesn't mean it tops, just means that's a likely place to look for some resistance and a reaction. So getting all the way back to where we are, now when you put that in context, waiting for the 4 here, don't feel like you missed anything. You got plenty of juice there. If that's the roadmap that we're going to follow, we got plenty of upside. So if I go back down, we go down to the 1 hour and then get a handle on this again. Note, I am in log scale here. It wouldn't matter. It's a very little different, so I'll take it out of log scale. So now you look at that and say, okay, well, if I've got to wait for the next retracement, and again, nothing says now. So take note here of what's just happened while I'm recording this. So we've gotten through the median line. So next target is here's the 100%. Can we get through that? So let's take this off because that's all the hypothetical. So here's the next big target right here. So working from this is our low, right? So here now we're through the median line. That's a good indication, that confirming the strength here. Here's the first algo target. Now, it wouldn't be surprising if we got a little reaction there. Now, so if we did, just again, so consider this. This is why you can't get locked into one idea. That's a potential path, right? But we may not go there just straight off. We may not just do this. So this could very well subdivide. So here, a reaction here at the algo target here at the -23. Well, you might look at that and go, wait a minute now. So that would, if we don't get to the 100, well, what would that suggest? Well, that would imply that we're just putting in a 1, 2. So I would kind of move this over, and now I'd go this way. So I'd say, oh, if we don't get there, I mean, we get here. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on our way to getting to this hot box. That 1618 zone that we know is the high probability for the 3rd. So we may not, just go straight. So don't lock yourself into that idea. What is the market setting up? What is it offering? It's always just a probabilities play. Well, this is a good sign, but you can see the resistance here that we're running into at the median line. Do we get there? So it's kind of a wait and see, but I wouldn't be discouraged from the bullish targets up here just because we don't get to 100% on this particular push. Maybe that's a 1, 2. So what is that giving you? The opportunity to reload and get the 3 of the 3. That's your money-making wave. Can we get the 3 of the 3? That's the one you're always trying to find. So if that retraces here off of this resistance and we get the opportunity to buy it, well, that's thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, indeed, I would be a buyer there. So look at all the things you'd have set up here. So if this starts to pull back, you'd have this prior resistance trend line here offering the support now. You'd have a retracement here. If I pull this, let's pull this off. So if that were going to play as a 1-2, we're working from this low. Let's say we go to the algo target. Well, look what happens here. Now you got, so look at this confluence here. So you've got the upper parallel. You've got the lower trend line here, prior resistance. This trend line was the resistance, now offering support. You've got the 61865 golden zone, and you've got the lower parallel here. So you're setting up for a golden corner pocket at a 2 wave with an 80% probability of getting to the median line. So I certainly wouldn't mind to see a reaction here, see them take profit and set it up again. Here's the ultimate target. So you can draw the hot box. Once you've got it up there, you just leave it up there. Now you can work with, as I like to do, I'll work with just the algo pulls because I know that's going to be very close. So we shall see. And again, yet again, right? It could very well just keep ripping. We don't know. We don't know what it's going to do. It might just keep going straight. Yeah, maybe one of those days. The bull is back. We shall see. Let the market show you its hand as it goes. What are the tells? What can we gather from it? Where's the next trading opportunity? If this rips, it's not until we get to the 4th. Right? But as I showed you before, don't feel like you missed anything if you're not in this run, because as we go back to the 4-hour, plenty of blue sky up there. Plenty of opportunity. Right, we're just getting started. Here's your potential 5th. Okay, we're down here screwing around in this a little bit. You got lots of blue sky. Okay, guys, I'll wrap it there.